Welcome to another episode of Drinking After Dark, a podcast where we discuss random topics while having a few drinks. I'm your host, Darius, and as always, drink responsibly. And y'all make sure y'all follow Drinking After Dark podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe to Drinking After Dark podcast YouTube channel. Tonight I have a very, very special guest with me. Um, man, I've known this man for, oh my gosh, it got to be like a long time, decades.
Yeah,
Decades.
at least 20 years, more than that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely
Since
that.
middle school for you, I think it was.
Middle school for me, um, who had an impact on my life. He was a former basketball coach of mine. Um, been around, he's very involved in the community. Um, father, husband. We're gonna get a lot of things that he does in the community and some of the things that he does, but I want to give a big, big welcome to my former coach, Shedrich Webster. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, D? How are you?
Oh man, I'm good, man. Blessed to have you on. I'm telling you right now. I was actually glad that you hit me up last week about coming
Okay.
on the podcast and everything like that. And yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is like a happy moment for me right now. So we definitely gonna get into it. But before we get started, man, let the people know what you're drinking on tonight.
Hey, man. So actually, today, September 17th, is the anniversary of that I had a stroke and a heart attack. That those two things tried to form against me, and I use those words specifically. They tried to form against me. And so since then, I've had some lifestyle changes. One of those changes, man, the only thing I drink is water. So I got me a cup of water here today, man.
I feel you on that, man, and I'm glad you're doing well. Tonight, I'm drinking on Sprite, y'all. I'm not drinking on anything. Y'all know usually I have a Crown, the vanilla kind. So, but tonight I'm just drinking on some Sprite, taking it easy and everything like that. But Coach, why don't you introduce yourself? Let the people know a little bit more about you and some of the things that you have going on.
Yeah, so my name is Shedrich Webster. Like Darius alluded to, man, I've been a coach. I've coached basketball, baseball, and football for more than 20 years here in the Clarksville community. I'm also a husband. I'm a father, which we're going to talk about quite a bit today. I'm a community activist, a voters advocate. Um, I've been involved in a lot of leadership around the city. But most importantly, man, I've been involved in a lot of followership because I just love on people, man. I love to see people succeed and to do well. Being on the show with Darius today, it's a special treat for me too. Like he said, man, I coached him back as early as middle school, and for those who may have doubts about his acumen, man, as an seventh, eighth grader, he was the best player on our team. Our team was definitely different when he was there and when he wasn't there. He was the straw that stirred our drink. He was the engine. He was the engine that drove our train. So Darius could play a little bit back in middle school. Now I don't know what he did after that, but back in middle school he was one of the better players. He wasn't the biggest player, he wasn't the strongest player, wasn't the fastest, but he was heady and he was definitely coachable. So I'm grateful to see that he's doing well for himself. I see him with his wife and his kids, and so he's a good guy, both here on the show and just in life in general, man. So this is a treat for me too, to see that I had an influence on somebody who's doing very well in our community.
I I really appreciate that. Um, for y'all don't know, I've started playing basketball from second grade. My very first coach, Mike Henderson, coached me from second to sixth grade, and then sixth grade, I ended up playing AAU ball. That was the first time from sixth through up to up to the summer of my senior year in high school. And Coach Shed, he was my coach in the seventh grade.
Yeah,
So um, it's been a journey, obviously, from playing in elementary school to middle school, all through high school. it takes a lot of discipline, but I had great mentors along the way, and Coach Shed was definitely one of them. So I definitely thank him for everything that he has instilled in me during that time I played for him. Um, I know you talked about today's the anniversary of your stroke and your heart attack. Um, Talk about that journey from the moment it happened all the way up to now.
So I can remember waking up early that day. And I it just felt like I slept on my arm wrong. You know how when you wake up and you slept on a body part wrong, maybe you slept too heavy over there, and you have this tingling sensation. And I had the tingling sensation in my hand and the lower part of my arm. Um, about 5:30 a.m. I felt that, but it started to progress, and that tingling feeling progressed up my left arm as the morning went on, right? And so it got to about 9 or 10. I said I just didn't feel right. I was working from home at the time. Again, it was 2021. So I was a remote worker. I was working from home at the time, and my son had he had attended college for a year at Alabama A&M, and then he came back home, and he was back home at this time again. It was, we are still in the throes of COVID, and so he was here with me. And I said, dude, I don't feel well. I called my wife and told her, hey, I think I need to go get checked in. I'm going to go to the emergency room. I don't know what's going on, but this tingling feeling isn't going away. As a matter of fact, it's progressing up my left arm. And I was concerned because it's this tingling sensation is progressing up my left arm. I knew at some point it's going to get to my chest and my heart. And so I had my son take me to the ER. And when we got there, they did some tests. They ran a couple, brief tests, do the initial triage, and they decided that, hey, we need to go and get this guy to surgery. And as they were running around and being emergent as they should in that situation, um, and they told me they were going to take me to surgery. That's the last thing I remember being at the hospital. And the next thing I remember, I was waking up um, after the surgery in a hospital bed. From the emergency room into checked into a room. And I spent about 4 days in the hospital, which is an adventure in and of itself. Those 4 days, but in my book, I say, I talk about the fact that I'm grateful that I was 4 days hospitalized, as opposed to my family having to spend 4 days planning my funeral. And so I'm very very grateful for that. Um, and that's the situation I was in. Since then, I've had some lifestyle changes in my body. I was weighing about 340 pounds at the time. Had high blood pressure, diabetes, and so didn't see the doctor like we do as men. Didn't see the doctor regularly. Didn't take care of myself. Was kind of just going through life. And so there were three factors that created this situation for me. There was high blood pressure. There was diabetes, and then there was stress. And all those three things, thankfully, those three things are controllable. Those are three things that I can take care of myself on my end, by making sure that I consult with the right people and have the right conversations and I do the right things. And so we're doing that as much as possible, man, so that I can live longer. I got a full life to live. I'm only 48. We've got two children. We don't have any grandchildren yet. I've got two sisters and a brother. None of them are married. Both my parents have passed away, and so my sisters are going to need somebody to walk them down the aisle. Um, and so there's a lot of life ahead of me, a whole bunch of life ahead of me. And so I've made some lifestyle changes, like drinking water. Um, I become a vegan, man. I stopped eating meat 3 years ago. September of 2022, I stopped eating meat. Um, because I choose to do better. I choose to live a longer life. I choose to be more available for me and for the people around me, people that love me. So that's where we are. So this again today is 4 years to the day from that stroke and that heart attack.
Going vegan, I know you went from meat to vegan. How was that transition like? Was it like a smooth transition for you, or did it take some time to get used to um, eating vegan?
So when I first was discharged from the hospital, I was discharged with with instructions to reduce my bread content, my potato content. And then as I was going through the process, and for the first time, I was checking my glucose on a more regular basis, doing the finger pricks and kind of getting those results. And in that process, I learned that even rice would spike my glucose, and so I stopped eating bread, rice, potatoes, um, off first. That happened initially in 2021. So no waffles, no pancakes, no biscuits, no sandwiches. All those things happen first, and I would just reduce the amount of meat to just chicken and fish, essentially, and not in every meal. Um, and so that transition over the next year, I was introduced to a documentary that explained a little bit more about veganism and explained a little bit more about plant based eating, and it allayed some of the fears that I had about it, such as how I get my source of protein. I learned a lot about that, and so I made the decision. Since meat is doing this to my body, and it could kill me at some point, I can just take the attitude that I've had enough meat in my life. I've eaten enough meat. I've eaten enough chicken and burgers um, and all those things. I've eaten enough breads in my life. I've eaten enough pancakes and waffles and cakes and pies. I've had my fill of those. I just front loaded mine. And so on the back end, I've got to balance it out by not eating it now. Those are the choices that I have to make for me and my body. And so the transition could have been called difficult, but at the same time, it was a matter of life and death. And so it was all about my attitude, changing my attitude about those foods and my relationship to those foods, and understanding that those were not the things that were going to be healthy for me. Those were not the things that were going to help me to be the best person I want to be.
Yeah, I've tried some things that was vegan. I'm not gonna lie, some of the things were absolutely amazing. Um, I'm not all the way there, but I will eat some things that are vegan. And of course, unfortunately, I'm still eating some burgers and
Yeah.
pancakes and all that stuff. But some of that stuff, I mean, people think the stuff is not good, but some of that stuff is actually delicious if you give it a chance.
So I would submit to you that you tried foods that people have tried to manipulate to make it taste like meat. I don't eat any of that. So like the impossible meats and those types of things, that's not I choose not to eat those. I choose just to eat plants. Um, so instead of having a chicken salad, I just have a salad with lots of fruits and vegetables, mainly vegetables. Um, I'll add in beans or corn for some textures and those types of things. So, black beans are a great source of protein. Dark leafy green lettuces. I choose not to eat iceberg lettuce. One, I don't like the taste. I want more taste in my lettuce, and so I choose a dark leafy green. It's like a spring mix or um, a spinach and mix it in kale, which can be a little bit bitter. So I mix it with several different other lettuces. Add in a garbanzo bean or chickpea. Add in black beans. Add in corn, and then lots of other fresh vegetables with lots of different colors that I enjoy.
So
But
how,
again, I can't give any health advice, but that's the way I eat.
yeah. Um, so how did your health crisis serve as a catalyst for more of a positive legacy for you?
Yeah. So understanding that in that situation, I better understood that life is fleeting. Life can be taken from me at any point in time, whether it's a stroke and a heart attack or a car accident or something else. I could be gone at any point in time, and so I understood that there were some things I need to tell my kids. Specifically, there were some things that I needed my son to hear from me. And so that's kind of got me to the point where I felt like I need to write those things down. And honestly, man, um, I received some of these messages that I need to leave for him a couple years ago. And finally, through some executive coaching, I was able to get this book pushed out of me. I was able to sit down and discipline myself and to go through the process of getting a book written, which is not an easy process. You can have these ideas and those types of things, but to put it down on paper and then to go through the process of getting it typeset and edited and corrected and fixed and turned back in and all those types of things, and to finally get to the point where the book is available for the public, where it's for sale for the general public. Man, that's a process, um, and it's not an easy process, especially since I'm self-published. I didn't go through a publishing house. I was self-published. I used my coach, my mentors, other assistants, but mainly, man, this is all me. This is my project.
Let's get into your book, From a Father to a Son. Yeah, go ahead, show that book so everybody can see. Uh, From a Father to a Son, y'all, by my coach, Shedrich Webster. Let's talk about it. What was your um how did the book come about? What was the purpose, the motivation? Um, just explain it to those who want to dive deep into the book.
So I'm gonna do something special for you, man. I'm gonna read part of the introduction from the book for you, if you don't mind. But these are things that I know can help him to be a better man. These are things that I know he needs to hear from me. These are things, some of these things are things that I wish I would have heard from my father or my stepfather before they passed away. But regardless, I hope that this will help other fathers and sons to sit down and have some conversations, talk about some things, and I hope it helps them to grow and be better. If you're a father and you have a son or even a daughter and you find it difficult to have conversations with them, hopefully this will help you to do that. So this book lays out 48 principles, very simple, that it will open up conversations between you and your children. Man, our sons carry on our legacy. Um, and those of us who are blessed to have sons have an awesome responsibility to making sure that that man becomes a man, that that young man becomes a better person than I am. I was watching another podcast today, and they were talking to Steve Harvey. And he said, "Man, when I lost my father, I realized that the only man who ever has wanted me to be better than him is gone." And he said, "I've never heard another man tell me that they're proud of me and have the impact that my father has." And so I want to make sure that I think it's important that I tell my son that I'm proud of him. I think it's important that he hears certain things from me as a father to speak life into him. Because who better to speak life into you than your father? You think about the movie The Lion King. Man, think about Simba prior to Mufasa dying and Simba after Mufasa died, and how he struggled, how he how he had troubles. Think about the movie Black Panther and how T'Challa, the struggles that he had coming to grips with his father's death and even his father's life. Um, but understanding that he was partially responsible for his father's death, and that weighed heavy on him. And he needed to hear from his father. So now, whenever I pass away, whether it's at 58 or 68 or 88, my son has some words that I've left for him. He knows exactly what I feel about him. He knows exactly what I want him to hear from me because these words are written in a book. And I just happen to share with the world as well.
How much of an inspiration from this book came from your son? Because I know Bryce. I remember Bryce when he was first born. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, I'm 37. Good gracious.
yeah,
Um,
you are.
I remember when he was first born. Then I remember watching him grow up, seeing him graduate. I remember him working at. I think he was working at a Foot Locker at one point. I
Yeah,
remember he was working there and all of that. And now he's a young man of his own. And I know you touched on how Steve Harvey said that, um, and you said it, how fathers want their sons to be better than them. So, how much of an inspiration for this book came from your son to actually write this down, pen this down, and share it with the whole world?
here's a dedication for the book. This book is dedicated to my son, Bryce Alexander Webster. You're the legacy I leave behind in this world. You're the best part of me. All of the good things that I am, you've inherited that. All those good personality traits, all those good attributes, you have every one of them. And you've enhanced them with your own personality. Son, I'm proud of you and the man that you've become. I know that our family is in good hands with you as the next generation. You're my man, Bryce, but most importantly, you're God's man. I can't wait to see exactly what you grow into, and the world will be better because you live in it. I love you, Pop. Yeah, he's
Mhm.
the reason why this book was written. Him and other fathers who need a chance to connect with their sons. But he's definitely the impetus for this book.
I remember you was discussing I think you was talking about the struggles of actually putting the book together, um, on paper, then going through the whole process of publishing the book yourself. Um, just real quick before go any further, what advice would you give to those who are thinking about um becoming an author, even like for the first time? They might be, what's some of the advice that you would give them in terms of, what should they be looking forward to? Um, just whatever advice you could give them.
I would encourage you to find some coaching. Denzel Washington, the greatest actor, I think, of my generation. Tom Brady, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play that position. Michael Jordan. They all had something in common. They all had a coach, a specific coach that they hired to help them work on their skill set, a specific skill. Michael Jordan had a shooting coach. Michael Jordan had not Phil Jackson, not Doug Collins. Michael Jordan had a specific coach that he called and said, I need help shooting. Whoever that was not better than him. Tom Brady had a specific quarterback coach. Whoever that was not a better quarterback than Tom Brady. Denzel Washington has an acting coach. Who can teach Denzel to act? But he's got an acting coach. He's got somebody that's able to look critically at the things that he's doing and say, hey, look, man, from the outside looking in, even though somebody that knows you and loves you and is intimate, here's some things that you need to do. Here's some things you need to fix. Here's some things you need to tweak to change in order to be better at what you do. So I would say you need to find coaching, because I had somebody to hold me accountable to my daily task of getting this book done, and getting it out. I would also say that you need to look forward to sticking to it, man, and spending time with it every day. I couldn't take any days off of preparing my book, whether it was making sure I had another principle written, or making sure that the grammar was correct, or making sure that all the syntax and all those errors were corrected, and making sure that all the periods were dotted, literally all the T's were crossed, all the I's were there, making sure that all the things were all the things. It took some time. And then, things like, I'm not an artist, I'm not a graphic artist, but having to select and to prepare a front and a back cover of the book. Writing a bio, that's something that's difficult for me because it was about talking about me. And having a biography written was a little bit difficult. It's just two or three paragraphs. That's not hard, but having to get that done and making sure that it looked the way that it's supposed to look and that it said the things that I wanted it to say without saying too much. I have a tendency to overtalk. And so I had to have some coaching to help me to make my words succinct, to make sure that what I have to say is pointed. Man, honestly, even as a father who's written a book about father to son, there's times where I overtalk with my son, where I can tell he's turned off by anything I have to say because I've said too much. And so this book for him, it's very pointed. I don't go into a lot of further explanation. He's a smart kid. And so he doesn't need me to go into a lot of further explanations. What he needs from me is to just give him a principle and then have him work out the principle between himself and his mentors, between himself and his coaches, between himself and his relationship with God. Those things are important to empower him to be able to do that. I didn't want a handhold with him. Whereas the next book that'll be coming out for my daughter, there's a little bit more explanation. Not that she's not as smart, she's a brilliant baby girl. but she likes to have more conversation. She wants to be more communicative. And so in that communication with her, in that communication with her, I need to make sure that I give a little bit further explanation. There's some questions that she might ask that my son would ask before he takes hold of the principal and run with it. And so there's a little bit more there. And then boys and girls are different. You have to deal with them in a different way. And so there's a lot more meat in the book that is written for my daughter, but we'll talk about that whenever you bring that up. We can talk about that too.
I know you're so the book, is this gonna be like a well, we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a second. But a father's legacy. A father's legacy. Explain that a little bit more for the people who might not understand it. Um, I know you said the concept of a book as a legacy, especially when a parent feels they haven't taught all the necessary lessons. So, explain that a little bit more for those to
Yeah.
understand it.
So legacy is something that's going to live on far beyond me. And so I'm going to leave a legacy one way or the other. We all know the song Papa was a Rolling Stone, right? Wherever he laid his
Mhm,
hat was home. And when he
mhm.
died, all he left us was alone. So the question is, did he leave us ALONE or A space LOAN? So we don't know, right? All we know that Papa left alone. All we know that his life had an impact. And there were people talking about him far after he passed away. Right after he passed away, there was people that were saying some things about him that his son had to hear. And so we got a whole song about that. You think about the legacy of people like Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. You got to think about the legacy of people like Hitler or George Washington. Whatever you do in this world, there's going to be a legacy left. People are going to know something about you. There's going to be somebody that talks about you after you're gone. They'll say good things or they'll say bad things. Whatever they say will be what you put out on the field. Will be what you put on tape. In football, you watch the all 22s. In basketball, you watch the game film, right? The eye and the sky don't lie. Whatever you put on tape, that's it. You can't lie about it. And especially once you pass away, you can't even come back and try to explain or give an excuse for why you did this or why you did that. But you have to leave a legacy based upon how you live your life right now. And so whatever I do in this life is going to be a legacy, good, bad, or otherwise. I just want to be intentional about what I leave for my son. So you can leave houses, you can leave land, you can leave money, but I definitely want to make sure that I left an impact of wisdom on my son. And so I hope that I pray that my legacy will be one of wisdom.
Beyond the book, um, I know. Let's just discuss the mission of this 100 barbershop book tour, um, and how the setting is really a perfect place for real and honest conversations. Um, explain that to me. Explain that to the viewers. Why this is like important.
Yeah, so the barbershop is a place where we can literally let our hair down, right? It's a place where we literally have some deep conversations. I know my barber, we talk about politics. As a matter of fact, the county mayor goes to the barbershop I go to. When he was out on the campaign trail, I introduced him to my barber. I said, look, if you want to be the county mayor, you have to meet the mayor of Paradise Hill. And so I took him to my barbershop and introduced him to my barber. Now he goes over there on a weekly basis to get his haircut. We talk about religion at the barbershop. I know some people frown upon talking about religion in public places, but the barbershop isn't a public place. It's a very private place, even though it's public facing. That's a private place, man. That's a place where we can go and be who we want to be who we really are, to let our hair down and just to be men. We talk about business. We talk about business acumen. For example, at my barbershop, man, we created a solution to a food desert. The area over at Five Points between Caldwell Lane and Summit Heights is a food desert. You can't get
Yeah.
fresh food over there, and so we understood that that was an opportunity that needed to be had. The community, the government wasn't doing anything about that, and so my barber owned some land over there. Actually, the Five Points corner area right across from the little from the little convenience store, 5 Points. He owns that area. And he's like, man, let's just set up a something over there that people can get fresh food. And so over there, you can go get fresh produce from a farmer. A local farmer has a produce stand that sets up over there, and then there's a food truck that sets up over there on a regular basis. And so people now can get fresh food in the area where they couldn't get fresh food before. And so we solved a community problem using our business acumen just from conversations at the barbershop. Um, and so I felt like this is a good place to have these conversations for fathers to understand that they need to communicate with their children in a very special but intentional way. And so we're trying to hit 100 barbershops in the next year where we can have these conversations. Some of these barbershops obviously are people that I know, but I don't know 100 barbers. I don't know 100 people who own a barbershop. And so there'll be some strange territory that I go into, but it's still going to feel familiar because it's a barbershop. There'll be chairs, there'll be clippers, there'll be a television on. We'll talk about sports. We'll talk about the politics of the day. We'll argue about whether it's LeBron, Jordan, or Kobe. We'll argue about whether it's Mike Tyson or Ali. We'll discuss, who's the best president behind Barack Obama in the history. But we'll discuss a lot of things. But mainly, what we're going to talk about is how fathers can leave a legacy of wisdom with their kids by opening up conversations that are special, that are critical, and that are important.
I think that's just an amazing thing because a lot of people wouldn't even. Well, let me ask you this: how did the idea come about? Like, what? How did that idea come about? You said I'm a instead of doing like the normal type of book tours, stuff like that. You decide, okay, we're just gonna hit up the barbershops. How did that come about?
Man, that's where the people that I want to meet that need to have this book, that's where they go. Um, Fathers go get a haircut, and so I want to meet the people who need this book where they are. Didn't want them to have to do anything extra. Man, Dad's got enough stuff to do, and so to add something extra on their plate, I didn't want to stress them out with that. And so this is an opportunity for me to meet people where they're going to be anyway. And so mainly, most of our book tour stops are going to be on Saturdays, where the barbershop is crowded. There's several dads there. They may even have their sons there. And this is a good place for them to have a conversation. This is going to open up some conversations. So when we open up the book and we talk about a principle, like one of the principles I leave out in my book is you should have a mentor. My son's in his 20s. He's 23 years old. And I've encouraged him, man, get a mentor that's in their 30s. Find your mentor that's in their 40s. Find your mentor that's in their 50s. And find your mentor that's in their 60s. And then that's the conversation we have in the barbershop. So the conversation that follows up from that with the father and the son on the way home from the barbershop. Okay, so who should be your mentors? Let me help you find your mentors. Your dad can't be a mentor in every decade because he's only one age. He's only one person. But let me help you find the other mentors that you need. Um, and so that's a conversation that me and my son have. And so every now and then, periodically, I'll check in. Hey, who are your mentors? Have you talked to your mentor lately? Do you have a mentor in your spiritual life? Do you have a career mentor? Do you have a financial mentor? Do you have a fitness mentor? And so we talk about those things. And so when I see him getting up at 7 a.m. and going to work out on Riverside Drive with Kenny Bennett, I know he's got a fitness
Mhm.
mentor. Or when him and my daughter chose a different church that we attend because they want to follow one of the youth pastors, I know he's got a spiritual mentor. And so I know he's finding people that can help him navigate life other than his dad. Because there may be questions that he's more comfortable asking them that he's not comfortable asking me. And then they have some information I don't have. They know better than me about some things. And so he needs to be a whole person. And so he needs several people to help him to become what he's supposed to be. But again, when we start the conversation in the barbershop with fathers and their sons, or just fathers by themselves, then it sparks a conversation all week long about let's talk about mentorship. Let's talk about how you find a mentor. How do you be a good mentee? How does that relationship grow and change?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I think we don't talk much about is mentorship. I think that's definitely something that we definitely don't talk about. And I'm glad you brought that up because it's something that we need to hear. You know, uh young men, young women, very important to find that mentor. Um, like you said, your parents might not have all the well, they won't have all the answers, but you could go out there and seek, like you said, those answers. So that's very, very important. Now I know you got another book called From a Father to His Daughter. And I know you touched on it a little bit. Um, how is this book how different and how similar are the two books that you have when it comes to this?
Yeah, so they're similar in that there's 48 principles in From a Father to His Daughter, just like there are 48 principles in From a Father to a Son. The difference is, from a father to a son, I just lay the principles out. From a father to his daughter, I lay out the principles and I give a little bit of further explanation. Also, and from a father to his daughter, I add in 12 connections between fathers and daughters. Also add in 12 activities that a father can do with his daughter. And then there's 50 conversation starters. And then there's also a shared journal for the father and the daughter to share together where they're writing back and forth to one another. It'd be difficult, man, to get my son to write back and forth with me. But my daughter, she'll write back and forth with me. I'll pin some things down. She'll pin some things down. We'll read them together. We'll talk about it. We'll have further conversations. My son, we're not gonna do that, man. We can get in a car and drive from here to Louisville and not say a word. Just listen to music, and that's intimate for us. My
Yeah.
daughter, we're gonna have some conversation. We're gonna talk. So it's just different. And so there's a lot more meat to the bone, and from a father to his daughter. But honestly, if you get both books at some point, you can use the 50 conversation starters, or you can use the activities. You can modify the activities to include your son. You can modify the connections to be with your son, and definitely the 50 conversation starters there for fathers and any children. Um, for example, when your kids get in the car after school, or when you get home from work and you see your kids after school, instead of asking your kids, how was school today? Try asking them, what was the best thing that happened at school today? And then follow that up with, what was the worst thing that happened at school today? And then we can talk about that. And if your kid is like my daughter, she would turn around and say, so dad, what was the best thing about work today? And what was the worst thing about work today? And so now we're having a dialogue about what's really going on in our life.
Yeah. When would the first off, um, if somebody wants to get a hold of the first book, uh, I'm sorry. If anybody wants to purchase your book from a father to a son, where can they go to purchase the book?
So there's only two places that you can purchase the book. You can purchase the book on Amazon, or you can purchase a book at a barbershop who had a book tour with me and it's got a couple books in stock. The easiest way to get to the Amazon is go to my website, FromAFather.org. There's a link there. Just click the link. It'll take you right to purchasing the book in Amazon. FromAFather.org. That's the easiest way. For dads, go to that website. There's a letter that I've written to you. I definitely want you to take a look at that letter, internalize that information, gather that information. And then I also want you to click the link to purchase the book. Purchase 3 copies of the book. Purchase one for you, purchase one for your best friend, and purchase one for your father. Man, I appreciate you guys if you just go and purchase a copy of the book. Or again, right now, I know that there are still copies of the book at Gifted Hands Barbershop on Paradise Hill Road. Go over there, see Kenny, pay Kenny directly. You're gonna pay the same price to Kenny as you would pay if you bought it on Amazon, except for you're not gonna have to pay any shipping when you go to see Kenny. Pay him $15. He'll make a little bit of money on that. I already made my little bit of money on that, and so you're helping to recycle money in our community twice because you supported him and you support me. If you go to Amazon, you can purchase it there. You have to pay the shipping. The book is just $15, man. It's not expensive. Less than 2 cups of coffee. Go purchase the book. And here's a key for you, man. Go get the book, then take your kid out for coffee. So for less than $30, you got a good conversation. You're connecting with your kid. By purchasing a book for 15, go guys, go get some cheap coffee somewhere. Um, go grab a meal, $50. for the book and go grab a meal at a local, you know, casual dining restaurant. And it helps you to connect with the kids.
And I know with from a father to his daughter, you don't have a release date yet, right?
Yeah. So the anticipated release date will be before the end of October. So it's coming
Okay.
up quick. So by the time we get to Christmas buying season, they'll have both books available. And so if you are a mother or a woman who knows a father, you can purchase both of these books for him for Christmas. That would be a special gift. If you're a single mother and the father's not involved, but you want your children to hear something from a man's perspective, purchase this book, man. Sit down with the kids with this book. And if you need me, reach out to me. There's contact information from me at my website, FromAfather.org. And if you need me to have a conversation with your kids, I don't mind. If you need me to help find mentorship and connections with them, I'll do the best I can. I've got a network of men that I associated with that are all over the country. And so we can get you connected. You need to be connected with. Um, and that website again is FromAfather.org, FromAfather.org. And again, you can purchase the book there. Also, if you're a barbershop and you're interested in having the book tour come by your shop, you can connect with us there at the website. There's a link that you can click on that and say, hey, I want to be a barbershop on this book tour. And I'm looking for barbershops all over the country. I know we have plans to go to Fort Pierce, Florida. We have plans to go to Dallas. We're trying to work out plans to get into California. But we want to get to barbershops. And any barbershop that wants to have us on the book tour, um, you can make a little bit of money off of this because we're going to sell you the book at a wholesale price. And then you can sell it at the retail price and you keep the difference between the wholesale and the retail price. That's a gift that we're giving the barbershop. So you can become a retailer of this book. And I'm not giving that opportunity to bookstores. I'm not giving that opportunity to churches. I'm only giving that opportunity to barbershops.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't wait for the book from a father to his daughter. If y'all know, I got a daughter, so and she's 11, so this will be excuse me, a perfect book for
Yep.
me to get. So I'm gonna be on the lookout for that. So let me know when it's up and it's released so I could give me a copy of it, and I will hit up your website as well for your other projects. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to that. And I know you also got a third book, right?
Yeah.
And so it's from a coach to the players.
Yep. Man, that's going to be very special. I'm actually interviewing several coaches, and I'm going to gather up as many principles from coaches that I know from across the country, and some things they want to make sure that their players know. Any good coach, man, we've got certain goals that we have for our players, and those goals are all beyond the court and off the field. Man, I love that I was able to connect with you and meet your wife and your daughter. Um, man, those things are special. When we get invited to weddings, or when we
Mhm.
get, when we get told about births, when we get the birth announcements, those things are special. That's what coaches live for. We don't care how many championships we win. That's cool. That's dope. We'll make up whatever money we make as a coach. We'll get whatever accolades we get as a coach. But man, when you call us and say, "Hey, look, coach, I'm getting married. Will you come to my wedding?" Or we just had a kid. You got to meet my baby. I need you to come meet my baby. Or when you say to us, "My kid is playing this sport. Can you help to coach them? Can you help to mentor them?" Or when you see us out and you with your kids and you say, "Hey, this was my coach," and we have a conversation with those things are special. We wouldn't get it up for the world. You couldn't pay me to not have a conversation with your daughter and the kids of other people that I've coached. Man, that's special. And so there's some things that coaches need to say to their players. There's some legacy that they need to leave for their players, and so that's going to be a collective book. Again, some of the coaches that I know, man, some of the names I want to get involved with this project, is going to be pretty big, man. And so we're going to have from a coach to the players, so that the players can feel the heart of the coaches in a special way. Um, because we just talk about things that we're familiar with, and we're not going to have a conversation about things that we're not familiar with. We're not going to have a conversation about things that that we're not good at. We're going to do those things that we've been successful at. I've been successful at being a father. I've been pretty successful as a coach, and connecting players with the next level of what they have going on. Like mentoring you from a seventh grade to an eighth grade player, and then to see you go on and play in high school and be a decent player at the high school level. Um, so I feel like I did my job. I played my role for that year with you.
I'm gonna look forward to that. I'm looking forward to everything that you're doing and you're going to do. So please keep me posted.
Yeah,
You know, send me links. I don't care. Just send me whatever, and
yeah.
I'm definitely going to look forward to it. Um, before we get out of here, is there anything that you want to add? Any last words?
Yeah, so when From a Father to His Daughter is released, I've got your copy. We're gonna sign your copy and we're gonna deliver it to you. So I got you. You good. I want to see you do well with your daughter. And so we're definitely gonna make sure that we make that special for you guys. I got you.
Oh, I got one last question. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Um, could they pre-order uh the book, or you just wait till it's actually released?
There will be pre-orders. We did pre-orders on From a Father to a Son. We will definitely do pre-orders on From a Father to His Daughters. Once we prepare for the pre-orders, we'll get those ready to go. I will not do a pre-order until I know it's all typeset and the editing is done. And then when it goes over to KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing, which is a publishing arm of Amazon. Once it gets over to them, then we'll do the pre-orders so that we can make sure that we're prepared for what we need to be prepared for as we go into this. Yeah, we're excited. We're very, very excited. Good
Okay,
question.
yeah, yeah. Just let me know. I'll spread it around for you because I definitely want to put in the pre-order. So when that comes about, um, fathers out there, I mean, please get you a copy. From a Father to a Son is out now. Then of course, the other two books that will be coming soon. You have From a Father to His Daughter, and then from a coach to the players. So, coach, I mean, what you're doing right now, man, is amazing. And again, I'm looking forward to it. Um, much success to you. I hope this thing takes off and blow up the way that you envision it. So, and reach the people that you want to reach. So, continue success to you, not only to your journey as an author, but also to your health as well, to your family. Um, I remember when you and your wife got married. I was at the wedding,
Yeah,
and personally, I want to thank your wife as well because she was actually the stylist for my wife's wedding. So
yeah.
um, it's really amazing what's going on. I know your kids are grown now. I know they are on their journey and everything, but I know um, y'all gonna be there for them every step of the way. So
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
no problem, no problem. Um, before we get out of here, man, I just gotta give some shout outs. I gotta eat my words on this one. Okay. Last week I said that Georgia wasn't going to beat Tennessee. I was absolutely wrong. Um, if y'all have to understand my logic, okay. Um, I am a graduate of Austin Peay State University, and they played Austin Peay last week. Well, weekend before last, and they didn't look good. They didn't look good. Austin Peay played them tough. I'm actually proud of my school right now. I don't know how long that coach is going to stay, but we all know how that goes when it comes to these small schools and coaches having a good season. But they didn't look too good, so I'm thinking like, okay, Georgia's not going to beat Tennessee the way they played. I was wrong. So shout out to Georgia for beating Tennessee, which I'm still upset about, but I'll get over it real quick. And there's a actual player I want to give a shout out to in the NFL. I gotta give a shout out to Daniel Jones, quarterback for the Colts. Um, these first 2 weeks of the season, he looks like he's been playing some great football. Look like a Pro Bowl type player right now. I don't know what's going on with the Giants and whatever. Saquon left and he became a Super Bowl champion. Daniel Jones left and he looks like one of the top quarterbacks in the league. So just want to give a shout out to him. Yeah, y'all know I do love my sports, basketball and football. So I do talk about it quite a bit. But I just definitely want to give a shout out to Georgia and Daniel Jones. All right. Thanks for tuning in with me tonight. Coach, it was an honor for you to come on. Don't forget to follow Drinking After Dark podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Coach, anywhere they should follow you for more information?
Hey man, again, go to my website fromafather.org. On Facebook, Shedrich Webster, Shedrich. There's also From a Father page on Facebook, and on Instagram, the real SD Webster on Instagram. And so yeah, they can follow me at either one of those places.
And y'all can watch Drinking After Dark podcast on YouTube, or you can stream it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. So please follow, support, uh, coach, support this platform. Until next time, I'm Darius from Drinking After Dark podcast. We out. Peace.